Hey everyone, welcome back. I have a bunch of new makeup and some new brushes, things that I've received in PR and that I've also been testing over the last month or so that I'm really excited to share with you. And some things are brand new, so I'll try them out with you today. I know a bunch of us are looking ahead at the Sephora sale at the end of the month, so there are quite a few new or newer Sephora releases here and some non-Sephora things as well. So let me pull you in a little bit closer and we'll get right into it. My skin has been going through it this week. I have a breakout that's healing here, another one right under it, just a lot of redness. It's just that time of the month, you know? So for primer, I picked up the Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm Powder in the shade Universal. So this is just the translucent shade. I picked this up at the makeup show. I purchased it myself, and it was when I met Danessa, which you guys know I was geeked about. So packaging comes like this. I'm sure you've all seen it before. It's not new. I think it was released earlier this year. It's a hefty packaging and it comes with a little spatula, which I think is actually really nice. And the product is huge. This is a little bit like the Tatcha Silk Canvas, but I actually found that one a little bit heavier on my skin than I find this. It's a balm texture, and the reason why I got Universal is I wanted to use it as a primer rather than as a foundation, but you certainly could use the tinted versions as a foundation or to add a bit of color to the cheeks or to sculpt whatever you want. So I'm just gonna pop out the little spoon. Packaging is actually really smart because it does stay in this little divot, and you really don't need a lot of product. You can see I've used it a bit here, but you don't need much. I'm just gonna take like less than a pea size amount, just that much. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand and I'm going to warm it up, and you will find that it sort of melts a little bit. And this is such a unique texture. I'm gonna take it mostly on the T-zone and also on the eyes. So I'm just going to press and smear, and I really only want a very, very light layer. It has a silicone-y feel, so as you're applying it, you can feel it smoothens out the skin, and that's what gives you that blurred quality. But there's something about this that makes makeup not only last throughout the day, but it also looks skin-like. So even when you're wearing like dewy makeup, and for me, I have combo oily skin, even when I'm wearing dewy makeup, it allows that makeup to hold on and have something to grip onto without being completely mattifying. And then I'm gonna take this across my eyes. I have very oily eyelids, and this has been really good for holding on to eyeshadow, and I'm super impressed with it. If you have any skin texture, if you have very visible pores, if you struggle with makeup staying on, I think this is a great product for you. It's already sort of setting down and it becomes a little bit more matte, but it's not a purely mattifying primer. The skin still looks very skin-like throughout the day, so I think it's pretty unique in that way, and I think this thing is gonna last me forever, and it's living on my vanity now because I just love it. For foundation, I have something new. Valentino Beauty sent over a PR package with their liquid highlighter, their foundation, and a blush. So they sent over their Very Valentino foundation in the shades MN2 and MN3, which I think might be a little bit dark for me right now, but I think I'll be able to mix these and make it work. This is the V Lighter, which is a liquid highlighter. I think it also might be a little bit deep for me right now. And they also sent over the Eye to Cheek Dual Use Blush and Shadow. And this is the shade number 5. So it looks like this, and oh, there's the brush. This is the Eye and Cheek. It has a really interesting, it's a powder, but it's like a spongy powder texture. So I might be using that later in the routine, but first I'm gonna go in with the foundation. So this is called the Very Valentino Light Lasting Perfecting Foundation with SPF, broad spectrum SPF 26. It's described as a medium coverage, long wearing, matte finish, semi-matte foundation with buildable coverage, breathable texture, and long lasting up to 24-hour wear. And this is $67. So it is very much in the luxury price range. There are 40 shades of this. I was not expecting that. It is a huge shade range. It does skew light to medium. There are deep shades with different undertones, but I think there are more shades that are in the light to medium category. So it's glass, it comes with a pump when you take off the cap. And let's just take a look real quick at a shade match. So this is MN2. It's very, very yellow. MN2 is described as light to medium with yellow neutral undertones, which I would agree. I don't think it's peachy. It is a golden neutral. It might be a little bit too yellow. And then MN3 is light to medium with golden neutral undertones, which might work better for me, but it's a little bit deeper. Well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna mix the two together. I just feel like I'm somewhere in between these shades. I have a little palette here. I'm just gonna do one pump of MN2, one pump of MN3. I feel like I'm probably MN1, which is light medium neutral. It's not golden, it's not olive, but I'm just gonna mix these two and see what happens. So it says for sheer coverage, use fingers, and for fuller coverage, use a foundation brush. I'm just gonna, well, first of all, I'm just gonna mix these two together on my cheek, and then I'm just going to sort of smear it on with fingers and then blend out with a brush, I think. I'm taking my BK Beauty 101 brush. This is their angled foundation brush. You know, I mentioned I've really been liking the BK Beauty brushes that they sent over, and they're super soft. They're synthetic fibers. They just make really quick work of blending, especially this one because it's so big. It's interesting. It has a really thin texture, so it's not too lotiony. It's not overly runny. It's not like a serum foundation, but it has a sort of self-setting quality that I think is definitely amplified by the primer. I will say this is very fragranced. A lot of luxury beauty foundations are, unfortunately, so if you are sensitive to fragrance, you may want to avoid this one. Actually, these two blended together make a pretty good match for me. And something I can say already that I do like is that a little goes a long way. Because it's a really stretchy formula, I feel like I'm getting a good amount of coverage without adding a lot of product to the skin. So here is one layer across the skin. I have a really good first impression of that. I feel like it's stretchy, it has coverage, but it's not overly full coverage and it's not overly mattifying, but because of that setting quality, I feel like this is going to stay on my skin for a good while, especially on top of the Danessa blurring powder. And I really did not use a lot of product. Like, look how much foundation is on here. I put down 2 pumps, but I probably used a total of 1 pump of product, and it gave me really good coverage across my whole face. You can still see some glow coming through. I did use my usual morning skincare. It is in the afternoon, so I have some natural oils that have already come through, but even still, it looks nice and skin-like, but it feels like it's staying in place. All right, on to concealer. I think I've talked about this before. It's the Make Beauty concealer in the shade number 4. This is a really beautiful serum-like concealer. It's a light to medium coverage. It's more of your everyday kind of concealer. It's not super high coverage. We'll see how it stands up to a slightly higher coverage foundation, but it's just a really easy concealer to use. And shade number 4 is nice for brightening under the eyes. It's golden, but it has a little bit of peachiness in it as well. So I have been liking this blended out with a sponge. I'm just using my Nude Beauty blender here. This is the kind of thing I can use all the time, and I've also used it all over the face. It's really nice that way too, for almost like a skin tint kind of texture all over the face. Oh, I forgot to tell you about this brush. I got the Smith Cosmetics 103 brush and their 131 brush also at the makeup show. And these are my first Smith Cosmetics brushes. I've been wanting to try them forever. And I got a great price on these because it was a pro discount, and these are amazing. So they're both, I think, natural and synthetic blends. This one is like a paddle shape but it's thin and wispy. It's been great for blending concealer in, and if I want to sort of blend it into my foundation, right where it meets the foundation, this one has been, I mean, look at that size. It's amazing. It's very, very soft. It's been amazing for buffing in cream blush, but you can use these for both creams and powders. I've been loving them. And I also picked up the Cosette S140. I think this is a highlighter brush, but I've been using it for powder. I like a targeted powder application, so it's slightly a bit of like a point up here, but it's pinched in the ferrule, and it's also really fluffy and soft, and it's been nice for targeted powder application, which is what I like. And I've been pairing this with the Westman Atelier pressed powder. This, if you like the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Filter, Flawless powder, that one, you'll like this because it has a similar effect. It's very smoothing. It's not super mattifying. I do think I need something a little bit stronger for the T-zone, but it just makes the skin look really velvety and blurred and beautiful. I'll probably use the Laura Mercier Ultra Blur powder for that actually. And this is their newer version that they released. If you are on the hunt for a new translucent powder, I can't recommend this enough. I have a look in mind that involves this new launch from Half Magic Beauty. This is their fall collection. And let me just show you. First of all, their mailer is so cool. This is the makeup brand founded by Donnie Davy, who's the makeup artist on Euphoria. And so they launched a liquid liner, a magnetic palette, an eyeshadow brush, and then eyeshadow singles that come packaged in these really cute compostable paper cartons, and you can pop them into their palette. So let me show you the different shades. So here's the palette. This sleeve comes off, and this is the cardboard magnetic palette. It's really cute, comes with a huge mirror and enough space for these eyeshadows and then some. And then let me give you a closer look at each of the eyeshadow cartons. So these are all, I mentioned, compostable, which I think is fantastic. And the eyeshadows look like this. You can pop out the pan and you can pop it into the magnetic palette. So here's the palette assembled. It is a fall collection, but it has some really fun pops of color. And I forgot to mention the eyeshadow singles, you can buy them separately, are $12, and the palette is $26. This is the shade Glamorous, and that was a one-finger swatch. Let me show you Wet Pebble. Like, hello. It just has so much stretch to the formula, and it's opaque, like with one swipe. The mattes are more powdery. They're a totally different kind of formula. They're like a velvety powder. So those are the two matte shades called Daydreamies and Cheeky Eyes. And the crystals are also very, very smooth. Sorry, this is hard to do on camera. This is the shade Elvin. Sorry, that's called Elvin Things. This is the shade Pretty Robot. These are definitely more toppery. They're not quite as opaque, but they're still very twinkly and pretty. This is the shade Carrot Queen, which is that orangey, yellowy gold. So yeah, those are the swatches. Really, really beautiful, interesting array of colors. This is really fun. This is called their Pyramid Eyeshadow Brush. It's $18, and I'm not sure if you can see on camera, but the ferrule is triangular. And this is the Magic Flick liquid eyeliner. It's a black matte liner, but it's very unique. So look at this pen, and then look at it sideways. So you're able to use it at different angles. Like you can use it on its side for something very thin, or if you want more definition, you can go thicker. I haven't tried this on the eyes yet, but I've seen Donnie Davy using it on her Instagram, and I'm very curious about it. And this is $20. I just feel like I have to play with this Wet Pebble shade. Of course, I'm gonna pick like the neutral color of the bunch, but this is the shade that I know I'll wear the most. Here is the texture of the eyeshadow in the pan. I think you can see how glossy it is, even in the eyeshadow pan. I think this is a perfect one and done shade, so I'm actually just going to take this all over the eye. I have to. I mean, you guys, this is so pigmented. It feels like a cream, and it looks liquid over the eyes. It's so shiny, so opaque. Wow. This actually reminds me of Victoria Beckham Beauty Mink, her potted eyeshadows. It has that silvery gold micro glitter on top as the topper, but the base color is a little bit taupey. There's a little bit of warmth coming through. I'm gonna try applying the other side with the pyramid brush. So I'm just dipping into the pan. I feel like the finger makes sense here, but we'll see. Yeah, you definitely get a much sheerer application with the brush. I kind of like the triangle shape actually, because if you look at the edge, because the ferrule is triangular, the edge is triangular, and it kind of mimics the shape of a finger. So I think I'm gonna like that to blend out the edges, but I am gonna go in with my finger just to lay down this color. I mean, it's such a big difference in the way it applies between fingers and the brush. Now I'm going to blend out the edges with the brush. I think what makes this such an interesting one and done shadow too is that the base color is warm. It's almost like a red based brown. So as I'm blending it out, the edges look warmer and they look different than the center of the lid where I've applied most of the shadow and where it's mostly topper coming through. So when you blend out the topper and you see the base color, it's much warmer on the edges than you would expect. The more I'm looking at it and blending it out, the more I feel like there's a bit of an oil spill effect because the Reflect has these beautiful silver crystally micro glitters. So it's very wet looking across the surface, but then you get this really dimensional blend out and it's giving that oil spill effect overall. I love it. I look like I have 3 or 4 eyeshadows on my eyes right now. Well, that was a very quick, complex, smoky, dimensional, one and done eyeshadow look. I know I want to play with more of these, but I like this look so much that I kind of just want to leave it as is. I do think I need a bold eyeliner. I'm not ready to go in with liquid yet, but the new jewel shades of the Victoria Beckham Beauty liners are out, and there's this one shade called Night Flash, and it's black with silver glitters in it that I think will be perfect for this look. I used the other shade, Sequin Green, in my last video, and I've been using that one a lot. Actually, let me just swatch all of them for you. So that is Gold Lame, Sequin Green, and Night Flash. So I'm just going to deepen up along my lash line. I do think fall winter is like the perfect time for these because you might be going to holiday parties, you're dressing up a little bit more, you're going for more maybe glam in your looks, and these are a perfect way just to add a little bit of twinkle to your look. I'm not going to wing this out fully, but I am just going to give a little lift to the end of the eye. So Make Beauty finally released their mascara. They've been teasing this for a little while. It's called the Lash Prototype Volumizing Mascara. And it's a lash defining mascara that adds volume, length, and definition. This is $26 and it is supposed to be buildable, but it's definitely for volume. And here is the mascara itself. It's in this beautiful, very weighty silver tube. Ooh, this is an interesting brush. All right, so it's a fibrous brush, but it's very thin, and I kind of like that. I don't like a brush that's too big. The bristles are kind of short, but there's definition between each bristle, and it has a kind of like spiralized pattern up the side of the wand. I just curled my lashes. I am gonna use my mascara fixer. This is the Etude House one that I've been loving. I just need it to hold a curl for any mascara, you guys know. So I just do a light layer of this to prime the lashes. And then let's go in with Make. I like the wand already. I feel like these wands where the bristles aren't quite as short, but they have the grooves, have a really nice way of gripping on to the lash. And I'm sort of blinking through the wand. It's adding a lot of impact. Keep in mind my lashes are naturally very short. It does feel really buildable, and it's also not too wet. I feel like that's some serious impact for me. Let me look up so you can see the lashes. This is my good side of lashes this week. You know how some weeks, depending on where your lashes are in their growth cycle, you're like, this is my good side, or this is my good side. This is my good side right now, and I can really, really see an impact with this side. I feel like it built a lot more length. I have some new brow products today, shocking. So Lawless came out with a full brow collection. They came out with brow gels, they came out with brow pencils, and they also sent over a mascara, which I won't be using today. The brow gels are really nice. It's like a tinted pomade, but you know that's not my preference when it comes to brow products. So I have clear brow gel, and I just did the Benefit 24-hour brow setter, and I'm gonna use their brow pencil. This is called the Lawless Shape Up Soft Fill Brow Pencil. It has a really cute rose gold packaging. The pencil, it's not too micro, but it is micro, but it's actually kind of an oval shape, which I actually like. And the other side has a spoolie, which is a must. This is $21 and it comes in 5 shades. And I do think the shade curation is really nice. They sent me all of the shades. There's blonde, there's slightly auburn, there are cool toned browns and cool toned deep browns, and they're all very neutral across the board. So I'm gonna use the shade Pecan, which is described as a neutral deep brown. It's the second to last deepest shade. So there's one deeper shade than this. So I'm gonna take the pencil on its side, the side of the oval, and just add little brow strokes. It's a very soft, dry pencil, which is definitely my preference if I'm not using a brow pen. The thing I like about the shape of this pencil is that by holding it on its side, I can get a really pointed line. See what I did right there at the tail? I really like that. I think the texture is really nice. It's very easy to manipulate. A soft, matte, powdery pencil. Okay, let's finish off the cheeks. I have another Danessa Myricks product that I picked up. I picked up the Balm Contour in the shade Medium 1, and I've been wanting to try this because I feel like her contour shades are very, very good, especially if you're a person of color. If you have a deep skin tone, the range is amazing, and it's not just like gray, ashy contour. So I have used this. I'm picking up the Refer 04 brush. I really like this. It's an angled brush that's fluffy on top. It's great for contour. And I'm just picking up a little bit directly in the pan. And the shade Medium 1 has a nice golden undertone, but it's not orangey. So I feel like it's actually perfect for my skin tone. And I'm just gonna keep it really focused, like right here. Just lightly tapping it in above the ear and under the cheekbone right there. I also like that this isn't oily. It's called a balm, and it is a balm texture, but it's not a shiny balm. It just has a nice natural skin-like finish to it. See? Gave me that little right there. See what I mean? It sculpts the face without looking dead or without making you look too fake. I do want to try this Valentino Eye to Cheek. It is very bright though, and I'm kind of liking the nude skin. Do I want to try it? I'll just do a little bit. This is a very interesting texture. Actually, did I swatch this for you? I can't remember, but here it is again. It's like a putty, silky putty. Very interesting. It's definitely powder, but it has a creaminess to it. So I'm just going to take it like right here. Very, very lightly. Okay, that's all I want. I don't want the blush to be a main feature of the look. I just want a little bit of liveliness in the skin. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the Rare Beauty lip liner in the shade, what are you? Talented. I'm gonna use the shade Talented, which is actually a very good lip liner to cool down whatever lip I use on top of it. See what I mean? There's almost this like putty-like quality to this shade. There's a bit of like a gray undertone that cools down my natural lip color. Okay, I actually thought of just the thing. It's actually from Half Magic Beauty. This is their Mouth Cloud in the shade Mr. Sheiky Pants. This is, I just swatched it right here. It's like a very light peach, but there's something a little bit browny, a little bit neutral, a little bit 60s about it. And I think this texture is gonna be perfect. See what I mean on me? It's very, very nude. It's almost too light, but when I pair it with the liner, it deepens up the lip look and it gives me a very like mod 60s moment. So I think that's it for this look. This feels like a very me look, but like me for fall winter. It feels very fresh on the skin, even though there's like a long wearing base, but there is a bit of smokiness and drama in the eyes. And this is totally something I would wear out to dinner or out on the weekends or something like that. Let me talk about everything I used real quick. The Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm Powder, I mean, I've already said everything that needs to be said. My skin looks so good. It looks good on camera, but it also looks good in person. And I can already tell that this base is going to wear a very long time. And this is just making every product that goes on top of it smoother, wear more nicely, wear longer throughout the day. It's great. The Valentino foundation, I have to admit, is a surprise. This was not on my radar. I would not have picked it up if I did not receive it in PR. But my skin looks really good. I love that this is a thin texture, it's stretchy, it's buildable, it's blendable, it looks like real skin, but I also like the self-setting quality. For me and my skin type, it just wears really well throughout the day, this kind of texture. And I will let you know in a pinned comment how everything wore at the end of today, probably after 6 or 7 hours, but I can already tell the foundation is like seriously locked in. The concealer I really like. For this look, I probably would, if I were to do it again, I'd go in with something a little bit higher coverage just because I wasn't planning on going smoky with the eyes. And sometimes it's nice to have a little bit more brightness under the eyes, but this is a great everyday concealer. I also cannot recommend my Smith Cosmetics brushes enough. I'll see how they wear over time, but they have such a great reputation. And really what drew me to these brushes is the unique shapes. Like this shape, you don't see a ton. This shape, you don't see a ton. They're very artistry focused. So I loved that. The Westman Atelier powder, also beautiful, paired with the Cosette brush. Beautiful, airbrushed, love the targeted application with this brush. The eyes are an absolute dream. I can already tell I'm gonna be using this particular shadow, Wet Pebble, all season long. I mean, what more could you want in like a smoky eyeshadow? It's so wet looking, and I'm actually surprised it's not creasing on me yet, even though it's so emollient, and I think that has a lot to do with the balm powder. The mascara, also an instant hit. I can usually tell right away if I'm gonna like a mascara or not, and I'm already excited to keep using this. And today in general, I keep saying, I really like this, I really like that, but I really like the way the look turned out. I don't know what to tell you. The brows are also a hit, the Lawless pencil. The Victoria Beckham Beauty liners, I also already know I love. The one product I'm not sure I love is this Valentino Eye to Cheek. It's nice, but if I were to pick up something from Valentino, it would not be this. This feels a little bit light. It doesn't have that luxury feel that these have, for example. And the texture is nice, but it's not like really standing out to me or holding its own in a sea of other products that I really like that are on my face. And then of course the lip products are not new, but they're in my collection because I like them. So the Rare Beauty lip liner and the Mouth Cloud from Half Magic Beauty are two textures and two shades that I really like as well. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions for me, again, keep an eye out for that pinned comment and I'll let you know how things wore throughout the rest of today. Like I mentioned before, I know a lot of us are looking to the Sephora sale, so I have a few videos coming out that do feature Sephora products. So I'm gonna do fall fragrances and candles. I have maybe a cream bronzer and skin tint roundup. I feel like I've been trying a lot of those products lately. And a few other things, maybe a try-on haul before we get to the sale. I am trying to be mindful about how much money I spend, how much new PR I'm taking in, although sometimes things just show up at your door and you didn't know they were coming. But I try to be intentional, especially going into the sale and holiday season. I know a lot of you are with me there. So let me know if there's a particular kind of format that is useful or interesting to you. If there's anything you want to see from me, of course, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.